Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live match preview show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy, and I'm your host for this evening. Liverpool have an important game tomorrow as we will be facing Qarabag in the final fixture of the first phase in the Champions League. So, what we'll do during the show, we will analyze our opponents, see what they've done so far in their domestic league as well as the Champions League. Plus, we'll discuss Liverpool more so the comments made by Arne Slot today in his press conference, which I'm sure will raise a few eyebrows, or maybe not to some. And then I'll present the team news, predicted lineups, and score predictions. So let's start with our analysis of Qarabag. Now they're currently 18th in the Champions League. They've played 7 games, 3 wins, 1 draw, and 3 defeats. So they're currently a win away from achieving qualification into the knockout phase playoff. So this is just as important as Liverpool in terms of them getting a result because it allows them to go into the next stage. In terms of their domestic form, they're second in the Azerbaijan Premier League. They've played 17 matches, 11 wins, 3 draws, and 3 wins. They lost over the weekend against a team called Kapaz, but the coach Gurbanov rotated his squad and made 11 changes that were confirmed by Arne Slot in the press conference earlier on today. And speaking of the press conference, I feel like Arne Slot made some reckless comments today about the team. I don't know if that's just me, in terms of how I saw it. Um, but I felt like some of the things he said felt a little bit obnoxious. So I'll highlight some of the things that he said that I felt like, not sure where he's going with this one. But one comment was about playing in the Champions League and Premier League. He says the biggest struggle is that we have to play in both leagues, which is what we want, by the way. But too many times after the Champions League game, we've lost in the Premier League straight after. And he's also said that we've had a lot of away games where we haven't won straight after the Champions League campaign. And then he said that we've struggled with being a dominant team, uh, being clinical and scoring goals. And in the first 6 games, we worked hard to get those results. For me, those just sound like excuses, honestly. You can't complain about being in the Champions League and Premier League. If you're trying to manage or coach an elite team like Liverpool Football Club, that is where your destination is supposed to be. That is where we've made our name over the years. We're not a team that are just in domestic competition. We are a team that challenges for all silverware, all competitions. So a little bit bemused by that comment. I don't know what to think of it. To be fair, I've never heard a coach complain about challenging for the title and being in the biggest European competition, which is the Champions League. Like, when have you heard anyone complain about that? So for me, it's just a bit of a silly comment to say out loud. And then he said he's described us as a dominant team, where we're clinical and we score goals. We're not that team this season, so I don't know what he's banging on about that. And he said that in the first 6 games, we had to work hard to get results. Well, that's the Premier League. This is your second year. You should know that by now. Nothing is given to you on a plate, especially domestically and in European competitions. So you have to work hard. And just because you're Liverpool, just because you wear the badge, you don't have the privilege of just getting gifted the points all the way. That's not how it works. So silly comments there. Then this is why I've always said I just feel like this job is beyond Arnold Slot. He's just not built for this role. And that's no shame in saying that. Not everyone can manage a team of Liverpool's caliber. But so that's why I just feel like he's not built for this at all. And then he took a slight dig, and I think this was towards the hierarchy where he said that Qarabag manager made 11 changes in the last fixture, and he said that he doesn't have the luxury to do that. Yeah, because we've got injuries, like every other team has injuries. And the thing is, even if we had another set of 11 players to rotate with, you probably wouldn't utilize them. We have a lot of players in the squad you barely use. So what gives us the indication that you would rotate the squad if you were given a big squad? And when he was asked about the squad, he was like, "Oh, he needs to find the balance. It's not easy." So you're just talking nonsense again. So yeah, a lot of comments that he was making for me, yeah, didn't bode very well. And then he came out with something that he addressed as an unpopular opinion, and that was that maybe the reason that Liverpool won the league last season is because we lost to PSG in the Champions League. Now, I don't know what his obsession is with the current Champions League champions in PSG. I don't know if he's trying to get a job there because it seems to be mentioning him every week. So he's trying to get in the in the algorithm. I don't know what he's doing because he's just talking absolutely nonsense. Us winning or us winning the league had nothing to do with us losing in the Champions League. From what I remember, we were in a great position at the time when we were facing PSG, and we were trying to go for all the cups. We were in a position where we were trying to challenge in all cylinders. Of course, we had just lost to Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, so that was gone. But we were still in the FA Cup at the time, I believe. We were still in the Champions League, and we were pretty much sailing at the top of the table. So I don't know what he's banging on about. Then he tried to use Arsenal, saying that, oh, you know, because they went a bit further than us and they dropped points. But that's got nothing to do with us. We had a squad that I feel like could have continued to mount a challenge, you know, in the Champions League, as well as continue the momentum in the domestic league. So again, just pathetic excuses from this coach. And then this comment, he mentioned it last week. I think he did it in a Sky Sports interview, but I didn't watch all of it. I just saw a glimpse of it online somewhere. But because I watched the press conference, he raised the same comment again, and it really irked me. And he said something along the lines where when you're a club like Liverpool, you want to win the league, but this club has only won it twice in 30 years. Yeah, and he said that we want to be competitive in every single competition. Now, when you say things like that, do you feel like we're going to resonate with you when you say things like, "Oh, you've only won it twice in 30 years"? Because just like when we argue the case with rival fans, the Premier League was not invented 30 years ago, as in the English Football League. It wasn't. You know, Premier League became a brand in the early 90s, Barclays Premier League and all that sort of stuff. So for him to say it in that way, he sounds like a rival to me. You never hear your own manager, your own coach saying it in that way. What he could have said was, "We've won it twice in the last 5 years." That paints the picture a bit better because the way he says that we've been lucky to even win it last year. That's what he's coming across, and then we should be grateful that he won the title for us. Yes, we are grateful, but not in the way that you're speaking right now. So, you know, he maybe I'm not, you know, he's not one of my favorite persons right now. So I'm maybe looking at things a bit too deep, but he's talking absolutely reckless. And I don't know what he's trying to. He seems to be like a media darling where he wants to appease, you know, that part of football. You don't really care. He's just talking rubbish now. And then he kept on discussing or mentioning about improving in boxes. And he said that if we improved in both boxes, we can win something this season. If we only improve in one box, it's going to be difficult to win something this season. Well, that's on you. You've got to make sure we improve in both boxes. You make it seem like it's just, you know, up to the players to decide that. You are the coach. You're supposed to train them. So what on earth are you banging on about? So he made some weird comments in this press conference. And maybe he's feeling the pressure. Maybe he knows his days are numbered, and that's why he's just talking reckless, like he doesn't care anymore. If that's the case, you know, put him out of his misery. Just getting rid of him now. What's the point of keeping him on board? After his fixture, just dismiss him and get someone like Steven Gerrard or Xabi Alonso who can come in first, get them through the door for the Newcastle game. Because right now, I think he's adding a distance between a lot of us in terms of the fan base, and can say for sure, I don't think there's a connection with the fans and this person, this person, specifically in Arne Slot. So for me, yeah, the club needs to be brave and grow some balls, quite frankly, and dismiss him from his duties. Because right now, he's just talking rubbish now. He really is. Now, moving on, team news. So in regards to Liverpool, unfortunately, Konate is still not available for this fixture. which is understandable, and I don't expect him to be rushed too soon. Although Slot said that he should be back in the mix in the near future. So hopefully that's not the club rushing him to come, and that's coming from himself. So I don't know. We won't really get told that sort of stuff, but hopefully Konate's doing okay, and he comes back when he's ready to be part of the mix again. Joel Gomez picked up an injury against Bournemouth, but Arne Slot confirmed that he shouldn't be out for too long. But of course, he won't be available for this fixture. Chiesa is back in training, and the likes of Leone, Isak, and Bradley remain on the sidelines. For Qarabag, Brazilian playmaker Kadi Borges is on the sidelines. Ramil Shadavev is ineligible for this fixture, but otherwise, Qarabag have a fully fit squad for this fixture. So before we do the predicted lineups, just going to go through some of the comments. And we can take it there. Barbie Up Boy says Slot making fun of the club in the presser today again. He knows he's a dead man walking. Potentially, that could be the case. 2 Prems in 5 years when you're winning, 2 in 35 when you're losing. That's a very valid point. He always likes to sugarcoat it, but when he's not pleased, he paints that kind of picture. So yeah, talking rubbish again. Bring up PSG. Yeah, I don't know what his fascination is with PSG. It's either PSG or Forest. They always mention at some point. It's getting bloody annoying now. Saying that PSG helped us win the league when it was 10 games left after that, and we only need 7 points. Do you see this clown, Ozzy? Yeah, he's a clown. He's a clown. I can't really, defend someone talking reckless like that. But today, I think he was just on one. Like he was going back to back with dumb and reckless comments. Um, Maybe he is feeling the pressure and he knows he's about to be dismissed. But just put him out of his misery. Why keep him on board? That's what I say. Feels like Ten Hag now. He will be gone potentially. The slot-inners have been quiet after that presser. Even they know he'll be gone. To be fair, I haven't really taken notice about the slot-inners. To be fair, if you're still slotting, I have to question it because there's no way you can be slotting right now. Um, this is not the season that I expected. I'm sure a lot of us fans did not expect. So yeah, I'm not surprised they are quiet. To be fair, he's complaining about injuries, but never does subs until the 75th minute. That's very true, especially in recent weeks. It's so annoying because generally we'd always make substitutions around the hour mark. And now it's 75th, 80th minute, and then you're giving players 10, 15 minutes because for me, it's just a tick box activity for him. He's not really trying to hold the lead or change the game, bring on these players. It's just bringing on players for the sake of it. So yeah, it's not looking good from his part. So wants PSG, he's not going to get the PSG job. But the best job he'll get is Tottenham. He ain't getting no PSG job. They'll be stupid to get him, for being honest with you. The press was clear, sign he feels pressure. Do you agree, Ozzy? I think so. Like, obviously, he's all be smiley and all that sort of stuff, but the comments that's coming out of his mouth, and it has been for the last few weeks, he's definitely feeling the pressure. I feel like because of that pressure, he doesn't feel like the club or the fans are showing him any gratitude. Like, look, of course, we are thankful that and grateful that he brought us the league title last season. But this is Liverpool Football Club. And I know in history, we've only won 2 league titles in 30 odd years. Yes, that is a valid point. But in those 30 years, or whatever the number is, we weren't a team like we currently are. We weren't top of our game. Jurgen Klopp brought those glory days for us. He brought those days where we were competing and we played an amazing brand of football and we were really challenging for all titles. That wasn't the case when Roy Evans was the manager. That wasn't the case when Gerard Houllier was the manager. That wasn't the case when we had Rafa Benitez, Brendan Rodgers, Roy Hodgson, Kenny Dalglish. All of these coaches, and even the coaches that I mentioned, bar Hodgson. I don't think Rodgers won anything either. But the rest of these coaches, they won silverware for us. So Julio won, the UEFA Cup, the FA Cup, the League Cup. Benitez won the Champions League in his opening season. So, a lot of these coaches, they've still won trophies for us. We're not like Arsenal. It's not like we haven't won a trophy in 20 odd years. That's not the case. We've won trophies on the way. It's just that we haven't challenged for the league title before Klopp. I would say, obviously, like there was a phase where Houllier challenged for the title and we finished second. Same with Benitez and the same with Rodgers. Those were the closest that we've gotten. But at that time, we didn't have the financial power to outmuscle these teams, especially like the Man United, where they were signing players for like 30 million. We could barely sign someone for 10 million. We were struggling. We had to sell players, to buy players. That literally how it was for Liverpool, especially under the Benitez era. So, there is context in terms of why we never won so many league titles. But, we were still challenging to an extent. We were still competing at that level. And it's not like he came back, or, he came to the club last year and we were a sleeping giant. We've been a force in the last 10 years because of Jurgen Klopp. So you had pretty much a well-oiled machine when you arrived. You didn't have to do any groundwork. You didn't have to bring in players to change the outlook of the team. You had a team ready to win the league, and that's what we did. And you brought in players today, or this season, I should say, and you've not played them correctly. You've not played them in their correct positions. You've not played tactics that will suit the style of the current crop of players we have. That's on the coach. You're supposed to manage the players that you have. You've only got one job, and that's to coach the players. Why are you not coaching the players properly? Why are you not playing a formation or a system that suits the skill sets of our players? Why are you so stubborn about a certain philosophy or a certain way of playing that doesn't align with the players that you have? You're doing what Amin was doing, playing a back three with wing backs when they don't have any wing backs in their teams. It doesn't make sense. So for me, this guy is just like deluded, thinking that he's done something special for us. Yes, he's won us the league title, and I'll always be grateful for that. But don't get ahead of yourself. This was a season for you to go back to back. And if you'd continue to bring more silverware for this year and years onwards, then you would have been held in high regards. But the thing is, you're talking reckless and you're talking so much out your ass where we should just be on our knees that bowing down to you because you gave us a Premier League title. That's not how it works. So for me, we've seen your true colors as a coach. You're below par. You're not ready to You're not ready to take this team forward, in my opinion. So he's been talking absolute nonsense, and he's been talking nonsense for a long time. It's not just a one-off today that's got me annoyed about him. He's been talking absolute nonsense for weeks now. But this club, they just don't have the balls to dismiss him because pride and ego is coming into it again. This was the guy that was appointed by Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards. So it's gonna hurt their pride that especially for Michael Edwards, he had a bit of an issue or he had a breakdown in a relationship with Jurgen Klopp. So it will hurt his pride where he's brought in the successor. They won the league title with a Jurgen Klopp team. And when they have this manager, we've digressed as a team. So that looks bad on Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes as well. So this is why they're not dismissing him. And this is why they will want to wait until the end of the season for their own pride and ego. That's all it is. Because right now, when I don't feel confident about finishing in the top four, quite frankly, or top five, depending on how the qualification pans out for English teams. Now we are still in the Champions League, and I feel like if we get a good draw, we can progress going forward. Because I feel like this team is more suited for the European style of play in comparison to the English Premier League. But can we go on to win that? I can't really say that with chess because there's a lot of big teams in this competition, and we just need to be drawn with a team like a PSG, the one he keeps talking about, and they'll show us the levels because we're not competing with teams like that, in my opinion. So I don't know. He's just talking rubbish today. Absolutely rubbish. Get Stevie G in. If it's not Xabi Alonso, if Xabi Alonso is not available to take over right now, then yeah, I agree. Bring Stevie G in as an interim, and in the summer we'll speak with Xabi Alonso and get him on board as head coach for next season. That's how it should be. Schropp probably didn't even speak to Konate. Can you see him giving him a hug when he returns? Because I don't. No, he doesn't seem like that kind of character. Um, But look, if that's him, that's him. I'm not really going to, talk about someone's personality. If that's his personality, that it is what it is. Konate will have the backing and the support of the squad. If he doesn't have that, what's the word? If he doesn't have that closeness with the coach, then I don't think he'll lose or sleep over it. So, um, yeah, I'm sure we come across people in life that don't really show that affection, and might just be one of those people. So it's not really a big deal to me. Do you think he looked angry today as well? I don't think he looked angry, but he looked very snide today. Like he knew he was making those comments just to trigger a reaction. So he knew what he was doing. But I won't say he looked angry. But it's just that when you feel that pressure, you start saying these kind of obnoxious sort of comments, and I think that's what it came across today. Do you think there's a way we don't win tomorrow? And if so, is that the end of slot? There is every way that we might not win because this Qarabag team, they're not a sort of a big team as such, but they've definitely competed with the likes of Real Madrid this season. I know Jeremy Frimpong mentioned in the press conference that last year Qarabag were 2-0 up, and I think that Liverpool ended up winning 3-2 in the end. So they're a team that can compete. So yeah, why not? PSG, sorry. Now I've got PSG in my head. PSV smashed us, a few months ago, 5-1. 5-1 at Anfield. So there's why can't Qarabag beat us tomorrow? I'm not saying that's what I want either, but of course we're in poor form. We're not playing a good brand of football. We have no identity. Whereas this other team, they do have an identity. They're very direct. They know how to play the game. So why not? And is this the end of slot? I would love to say yes. I just don't think it is. The end of slot should have happened in November, but I don't know if it is. If we were to finish outside of the automatic qualification for the knockout phases, maybe that puts him in a more of a radar where they need to think and make a reaction soon. But like I just mentioned to you earlier on, I don't think Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards will have the balls to do it. I don't think so because this will kill their pride that the person that they appointed as Klopp's successor only won the league because he inherited Klopp's team. And when he added his touch to the squad, it hasn't worked out. So I don't think they'll do that right now. Is that the right call? Of course it's not. But ego is a thing in football. It really is. CVG will change the feel around the club in a second. Why won't the club do it? Like I just mentioned, they don't want to sack Arne Slot. Simple as that. Of course, everyone knows that CVG would bring that good feel factor back to the club. Look what's happening at Manchester with Michael Carrick. It does happen. It is normal. When a manager or coach has a connection with the fans, being a former player, they've already got an advantage straight away. Because when a club is not doing well and you've appointed a figurehead like a Michael Carrick, it changed the outcome of how the fans perceive the team again. And if you started off well in the first game, which of course they did, they beat Man City, that puts him in a great position to really get their support. And that's all it needs right now. We need a bit of a boost. We need a different voice, a different direction um, from the top man in terms of our squad, but they won't do it. For it's yeah, egos it is their egos, 100%. Edwards wouldn't be anything without Klopp. Look, Klopp was a special coach, special manager. You know, those type of figures are not available like that. He was very unique. He was a unicorn of a manager, in my opinion. So of course, Edwards can do all the data metrics and find these players, but end of the day, it's down to Klopp's coaching, management, and leadership that allowed these players to gel. So the coach has to take all the credit, in my opinion. Honestly, will you be content with Conference League? Absolutely not. I'd rather not be in European competition if that's where we finish. So Champions League, it's a must, as I mentioned yesterday. Europa League, I'd be very disappointed. Conference League, I don't want to be there at all. I'd rather us finish 10th and not be anywhere near that level of competition. So yeah. And I don't want to be a Chelsea where it's like, oh, we've won all the cups available, I could not give a damn. I really couldn't. So no, that's not an option for me. Remember that Liverpool is about coach, players, and fans. That connection broken down by Slot is. But like we're talking about today, I don't think Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards will make that decision unless it affects the club financially. That's the only time they'll make a change. And also, if we are so far away from obtaining a European finish, that they have to react. That's literally how it is. So yeah, it's annoying. Ozzy has three things in his head: Bradley Barcola, versus bonus checks, and a fade. Excuse me, and a fade as well. Yeah, in that order, probably not, but yeah, at some point, I guess. Slow has PSG, low block, and gap pull. Yeah, that's facts as well. But I'm not gonna lie. I don't want that third rate. No, I don't. I really don't. For me, that is just simply not good enough, man. Honestly. Um, can you imagine the teams that we face in that competition? It'll be teams that I can't even pronounce. So I'm gonna have to practice pronouncing these teams before I come on and do a show. That's how it's gonna be for me. So yeah, it's gonna be peak. I'm not gonna lie. We don't even have a likable squad now anymore. I wouldn't say we don't have a likable squad because I still feel like we've got a good crop of players. But unfortunately, when your manager is playing a certain way of football and these players are coached to follow these instructions, you feel like that this is how these players are in terms of that's their capabilities. I tell you what, if Gerard or Alonso was to come in now, you'll see a completely different team. And in terms of the squad, I like the squad. However, this is probably a bit of a random kind of thought, but I feel like we need to add a few players that play dirty. Simple as that. I need players that if someone fouls one of my players, I want a player to come up and then take one for the team and whack that person just to show them that look, you try and do that again, you're gonna have to deal with us. I want that kind of street mentality in my team. Right now, we've got good players that are good technicians, but they're too nicey. They're too soft. I don't want players like that in my team. I want a centre back that will bully opponents. I want a defensive midfielder that will bully midfielders. I want these type of players in my team. That's what we need. We need those kind of players. But having said that, I still feel like we've got a good balance in our squad. I feel like we've got good players, but unfortunately, the coach just doesn't know how to manage this level of this caliber of players. In my opinion, I I feel like there's some coaches where they're used to playing a certain way. Like we play like we are a newly promoted team. Like we play very cautious, and if we get a point, it's a round of applause. We got a point. A draw for me is a defeat. And you guys will know that whenever we've drawn, I've always come on the show like I've lost, like I'm peed off. So this is the expectations that we've set. And if you can't deal with these expectations, you're at the wrong club. You hit the lottery firstly by getting a job of being a coach at Liverpool, but you've been found out. And it's just pride and ego that unfortunately is not getting you dismissed right now. That's the only thing I can think of. So yeah, it's frustrating, but unfortunately, it is what it is, I guess, right now. Such egos. I don't feel like we have that many big egos in our squad. Now go over to Real Madrid, they've got egos, in my opinion. If Slot was to lose his job, I don't think he would say that, oh, this player, that player might have been the reason why I got shifted out because of player power. We don't really have player power in Liverpool. Some may say maybe Salah is that individual, but I don't think he is. I think that time when he came out loud and spoke very publicly, that was built up frustration. I genuinely believe that. And look how the fans turned on him as well. The timing wasn't right in terms of him expressing the way he did. I don't think he did it the right way, and he should have kept it behind closed doors. But he's still entitled to express it to an extent, but not in full detail. He kind of went a bit all guns blazing for me. But for me, that's probably just a reference of how the club or the squad were feeling at the time. And don't forget, we were in a terrible run of form at that time. And he was getting dropped. He was being sacrificed. And players like Gakpo have been abysmal this season. So I was supporting Salah. And people are like, oh, you're a Salah fanboy. Yeah, I probably am. But in that situation, I felt his frustration. Did I like the way he conducted himself in it? No, I don't think he should have done that publicly because it was just added eyes or added pressure, not pressure, added eyes to a situation where we were in the mud and we didn't need that kind of tension. And it just gave the media and rival fans more ammunition to suggest that we're going down in a spiral right now. So yeah, but I don't think we have egos in our squad like that personally. Um, Not like Milner and the Bobby characters that we don't have now. Um, Characters in what sense? In terms of leadership and stuff? I don't think we are completely blessed with a lot of leaders in our squad. Um, what we have players that are very technical that can play the game at the highest level. Just haven't found the right balance right now. That's the only thing. But I like players that show their personality and fight for the badge as well. So for me, we need that kind of level of players going forward. We need players who press like Milner and Henry. But the thing is, Bo, this might just be instruction from the coach where he doesn't want the team to press so high. I feel like we literally have been defending as a team with one step back. Normally we used to play a high line defensively. We don't do that anymore. We attract that pressure from the opponent, whether it's Bournemouth or Real Madrid. We let them attack us. That's not how we're built. That's not how we play. And he called us a dominant team. That's not how a dominant team plays. So his ideology is all over the place. And that's what confuses me in terms of why he's still here. Intensity needs to go up. It does, but I think that comes from the coach. He doesn't want us to play in that intense level. I remember, I'm not going to use this as an excuse, but we sold players in the summer like your Luis Diaz, like your Darwin Nunes, who might not be, as prolific as we would like them to be, but they were players that grafted for the team. And we didn't replace Diaz, and we replaced Nunes with Isak, but of course Isak's been injured and unfit for large parts of the season, and he's not really a presser. He's a better finisher, but he's not a presser like Nunes. So that's for the club to figure out in terms of finding the right profiles. And I do feel like we have players on our team that can press from the front. So Bosnia can press, Chiesa can press. But if Rio is given a chance, he will press as well. Ekitike will press as well. But if the instructions aren't given to these players, Verts will press as well. But if you're not getting the instructions, then you're not going to do it because that's not what the manager wants you to do. He wants you to drop deep and hold shape and not to get beaten because we play against low blocks and long balls and all that jazz. So it's the coach. The coach has a very negative perspective of football right now, and that doesn't reflect the way Liverpool should be playing going forward. Oh my gosh, Ozan, really? Let me try and now these real teams that you've just made words up here. All right. We're playing the likes of Pied. I'm gonna have to make my screen bigger. I cannot even read that. Lina Miscond. I know I'm butchering it. I'm probably speaking a very British accent right now. So I don't even know where these teams are from. Vikingo, Reykjavik, and FC Torpedo Belaz Zodino. Yeah, these are some made up names, Ozan. You're taking a mic. Um, Joe will fix the morale in a second. 100%. Watch the Barcelona game back and wow. Yeah, I wish we could play like that, isn't it? Yeah, it's a shame. Everything was different, the intensity and the crowd. Man, really said the reason we won the Premier League last season is that we lost PSG in the round of 16. It's just absolutely diabolical to come out with something so loud like that, honestly. I'm Team Salah. He was speaking for all the players. I agree to an extent with that as well. Virgil has changed very much as well. Do you agree? I think Virgil just looks fed up and frustrated, and I think he's a representation of the squad as well. I think we're just tired of this coach. We're tired of his way of managing the team, his tactics, and everything about him. So he looks like a frustrated individual. He does not represent the current coach right now. So I feel like he feels the frustration as well. And it's like nothing's changing. It's the same old rubbish every week. So he's feeling it as well. Players with personality, not that dull answers to the press. Yes, from the coach. Absolutely, get rid of that boring. Yeah, it means get rid of him. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Because if we keep him on board, which unfortunately I think we will, um, it's going to come at a cost where we might not achieve Champions League qualification next season. And for the hierarchy to think that we're going to do well in the Champions League current campaign, they have another thing coming. There's no guarantee we're going to succeed. We topped the league last year, and then yes, we faced PSG, Arsenal's favorite team, and then look what happened to us. So there's no guarantee that you're going to get a good draw based on where you finish in the Champions League anyway. So putting all our eggs in one basket, thinking we're going to win that, it's a bit silly as well. So yeah, something needs to change right now. I'm hoping we do. Of course, I would be lying that I'm not hopeful. We don't. I'm hopeful that we do make a change soon, but I don't think we will, unfortunately. So yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, so let's present a graphic so we can predict the lineup for this team now. I'm not going to suggest that I know all of the players in Carabao because I'll be a complete liar. So I'm going to present the team that faced Frankfurt, and that was the match that Qarabag got the win. So I'm just going to present that team on the lineup. So um, in goal they have Kuchelski. So let's bring him on. Kuchel. If I can spell his name. That is not how you spell his name. How do you spell his name? There we go. The Polish goalkeeper is there. And then we've got Silva. Yes, good luck to me trying to find Silva. Oh my gosh, which one is their logo? Uh, I went for the most common name, and I don't even know where. What's his full name? Let me find out his full name. It'll be easier to type that in. Silva. Mateus Silva. All right. Mateus Silva. There you go. Finally got him. Okay. And then in centre back positions, we've got Mustafa Zada. So let's bring him on. Mustafa Zada. There he is. And then alongside him, it will be Medina. Medina? We faced Medina that way, didn't he? Um, yeah, not this Medina. It's a different one, I guess. There you go. Colombian international, I'm assuming. Uh, and then we've got Kafa Guliev. So hopefully I've not butchered his name. So that's the back four there. Now in terms of the double pivot, it will be Jankovic. Oops, there we go. Jankovic. Alongside him will be Mikalo. There we go. So that's the double pivot. And then you've got Andrade, who is their right winger. There you go, Leonardo Andrade. And then um, Zubair as well as a left winger. And then we've got Montiel. And then up top, we've got Duran. Not John Duran. This is another Duran. Where is he? Oh, is he not here? Hang on. What's his full name? Camilo Duran. It should be there. Let's try and find him on the website. Camilo. Okay, he's not there apparently. Camilo Duran. Really strange. Okay. I'm just gonna pick this. Oh, it'd be useful if I actually spell his name properly. I'll just pick a random Duran so we can just do it for There we go. Oh gosh. Camilla Durant. Let's just do that. So that's the striker. So yeah, this is a team. So in terms of danger, I know Zubair is a player that's quite silky. Um, I think he's not the highest assist maker, but he's got quite a few assists. Leandro as well. He's got quite a few goals this season. So I'm assuming those two players will be very direct. Camilo Duran is, I think, the top scorer as well. So those three we're gonna have to look out for. One of the, I'm not sure if this was the left back, but I know one of the left backs. Um, I think he might be this left back. He's got the highest goals as well. So yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know too much about Qarabag, so this is me watching a few compilations, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, let me know what you think. I don't think there's going to be any debates about my team selection here. So we can move on and predict the Liverpool lineup. So, okay, Liverpool, I'm going to go with Alisson in goal. Frimpong at right back. And I'm hoping, I'm praying that we don't see Szoboszlai there. But the way he answered questions today, I would assume that he would be playing in midfield. Kirkes on the left-hand side. Van Dijk in the centre back position. And his partner on the night. This might be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but this is what I would go with. I'd go with Gravenberg. I know Endo played it the other day, but I don't get a lot of what's the word? I don't have confidence in that position. Um, so maybe Gravenberg to start in that role and Endo to play in front of him. So if we feel like the players need to be rotated, so let's say Gravenberg, we need Gravenberg's physical presence, or we need his ability in the middle of the park. Then we just swap him. It's not going to be a crazy thing, but this is how I would start the game. And alongside Endo will be McAllister. And the reason I have put McAllister because Endo and McAllister have formed, a good partnership, especially when McAllister first joined. So I feel like they have a good understanding together. So it could work in this sort of scenario. Salah on the right hand side. Why is my graphic not working? There we go. Salah on the right hand side. My client, of course, he's got to play. He will be, in my opinion, playing in the number 10 role. What's going on with this website, honestly? That's now me personally, I would play Rio in this game because I feel like a team like Qarabag won't know too much about Rio, and I feel like it'll catch them by surprise, and I think he would cause havoc on that left hand side. That's when you play a wild card in this sort of formation because they won't know what's coming, and they probably would have done preparation to mark Cody Gakpo, which would be follow him because all he likes to do is cut inside and shoot. So I think presenting Rio would have given us that unpredictability, but that's not what our coach is going to do. So I'm going based on what the predicted lineup is, and I think it will be Gakpo. Not my choice. I would go with Rio personally in this fixture, but I think it will be Gakpo who starts in this game. And up top, I'm hoping Ekitike is fit. So I'm going to go with Ekitike to start in this game. So this is my predicted lineup for Liverpool. So please feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. And if you have your team lined up, feel free to let me know what your team is as well. Let me go through the comments before I give you my score prediction. So let me see what the last comment was. Ozan says, Ozzy, would you rather Arsenal win the league and Slot gets sacked, or we keep Slot, but either Villa or City win the Premier League? Oh, why are you going to do that to us, Ozan? Um, oh gosh, such a difficult question to answer because I'm not gonna be happy if Arsenal win the league. I can't stand the fans right now. I can't stand them. I'm sure you guys are on social media and you see the nonsense that come out of certain content creators or people that have a podcast and they talk absolute nonsense. Ah, but you know what? I'm gonna be brave here. I'm gonna be bold here. Unlike our owners, I'll let Arsenal win the league, and then Slot gets the sack because I care about my team more than what other teams do. And yeah, they win one league. That's fine. They can hold Arteta in high regards. But next season, if we have Xabi Alonso, then we go firing and then we go again. So that's what I would do. I can't have another season of Arne Slot at Liverpool. I really can't. It's come to that point. Look, I'm not trying to overreact here, but if Slot is the manager next season, there might not be a football talk podcast anymore. I'm telling you now, because I can't continue to do shows and talk about this boring guy all the time. So yeah, honestly, I don't want Arsenal to win the league, but in this scenario, I'm gonna pick that selection there and go with them to win the league, and then we sack on a slot. Who are the worst fan base for you, Ozzy, that might surprise us? In terms of the Premier League, the worst fan base, I'm going to say Arsenal. I don't think that's going to surprise you. It might do. I don't know, but 'cause obviously I'm from London, so most of the fans that I've grown up with are Arsenal and Man United. The United fans have been quiet in in large parts of recent years. They've come out of the woodwork now. They've come out of the cave now because they won two back-to-back games. And I see fans or friends, I should say, that were very mute when it comes to football, but all of a sudden got a voice now. But Arsenal fan, the way they are so shameless right now, and they haven't won a single thing. They're having debates with Liverpool to say like, "Oh, like what have you guys done? What have you done? You haven't won anything yet. So calm down. Win the trophy first, because right now you're on the verge of bottling it. That's how I'm looking at it. You're on the verge of bottling it. So keep your feet on the ground. Once you've got your hand on the trophy on the last day of the season, then we'll talk. So for me, I'm probably going to say Arsenal because I think when they have any level of success, they're so over the top and so arrogant when they don't need to be able to. If they don't have any valid reasons to be that arrogant, that's what irks me more. So I don't know if that's a surprise, but for me, that's probably what I'm going to go with. To be fair, um, big up, Daz. I hope you're doing well. Um, Double D got calling. So Double D, I'm going to give you a shout after the show. So yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Um, Daz asks Double D, big up. You're looking forward to the Rumble on Saturday and SmackDown on Friday. Double D says he's looking forward to the Rumble, but vexed the clashes with our game. Uh, SD should be good too. So what are you doing, Double D? Because I already confirmed it to the people, and I know people aren't going to like it, but I'm not doing a watch along. I'm watching the Royal Rumble. So that's going to be more enjoyable for me than watching Liverpool. So yeah, call me a sellout, but I'm I'm going to watch wrestling during that time. Of course, I'll watch the game after the Royal Rumble is finished, and then I'll do a match reaction show the following day. But yeah, I'm just gonna watch the Royal Rumble in peace and no stress. So that's how I want it right now. Trent Yoni can play centre back too. I really hope we don't do that. No, I don't want to. I don't want to ruin a young player's confidence. Um, he could be a viable option in midfield. To be fair, during the game, I think he should definitely be utilized tomorrow. But remember who our coach is. It might not be as clear cut for him as it is for us. Bo's team is Ali, Frimpong, Virgil, Robbo, and Kirk. So Robbo at centre back. It's not a bad shout. I don't know if Slot will go for that, but it's not a bad shout because I feel like at this stage of his career, he could play that centre back role. He's done it one or two games last season, I remember. But I feel like there was times where it was more of a back three at times in transition, like the last 10 minutes of a game, for example. It's not a bad shout. Graben Jones and then Verts, Bosla, Rio, and Ekatike. So you've dropped Salah. I wouldn't drop Salah, but that's your choice. I wouldn't drop Salah personally. Uh, that's it for me. Allison, Frimpong, Endo, Virgil, Kirkes, Ryan, Maka, Jones, Dominic 10, Mo, Hugo, and Verts. And WC says, I agree, Rio should start. He looked decent on Saturday. He did. He did look decent. Whenever he's made a cameo, he does look decent. And I feel like this is the game where, you give the youngster an opportunity. I can definitely say Jurgen Klopp would have played him in this game. I feel like that would be 99% for me that he would play him in this game. Give him a run out. There's no real pressure. Like I know, if we don't get a win, we might not get automatic qualification, but we're still in a good position to qualify. So why not give him a chance? But I don't know. I've had enough of this coach, to be fair. Ozan's lineup is Mamadashvili. That's nice for Mamadashvili, Ozan. Robbo, Van Dijk, Amaro Nallo, Frimpong. Yeah, you're pulling our leg right now. Groundbacks was that McAllister, Rio, Hugo, and Mo Salah. Not much preparation for Gakpo though. Oh, well, how much more preparation does he need, to be fair? WDL was on a show before in the chat. Aussie Seth could be back at the Rumble. I saw a clip circulating where he was doing a panel show. I think it was for NFL, I believe. And I think the guy almost, well, pretty much revealed that he's going to be fit to be part of the Rumble. So kind of ruined it there for me. I'm not gonna lie, because I thought he wouldn't be back until closer to WrestleMania. But yeah, bit of annoyance to be fair. Uh Ball says you're gonna look on your phone, Aussie, and it's 4-0 to Newcastle. Happy then? No, I'm not gonna be happy if Newcastle winning 4-0. I'll only be happy if Arne Slot is sacked. That's when I'll be happy. And that's when I'll probably do a live stream as well. Whilst watching Royal Rumble, putting shisha, smoke in the background. That's when I'll be happy. Not that we've lost. I just want to hear that Slot is sacked now. That's what I'm looking forward to. So yeah. For that rude, whatever. That's just how I feel right now. Okay, now moving on, and my score prediction for this game. Bo, you're saying finally, I've been saying Slot should be sacked for months. This is not the first time I'm saying, oh, he should be sacked. I've been saying for months, but I'm just speaking in reality. I don't think it'll happen. But I'm praying. No, I'm not praying. That's a bit rude. But I'm hoping that he is going to get sacked soon. So yeah, let's see. Let's see what happens. Double D says, I'm going to have the game on the TV and the Rumble on the Lappy. But if we play the slow position game that we have been doing, I'll be concentrating on the Rumble more. Yeah, I hear you. I could do the same as well. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not going to lie. I'll be like, we're doing a watch along with you guys, and I'll be chanting something that's coming out, I was like, oh my God, Chris Jericho's back. And then you're thinking, who's Chris Jericho? Especially if you don't watch wrestling, you're thinking, I'm just going crazy right now. So yeah, I'd rather just focus on one. And for me, I'm just gonna stick to the Royal Rumble. So yeah, let's see. I might change my mind. I might be feeling, you know what? Let's watch the game and then um I'll have to multitask. But let's see. Let's see how it goes. Ozzy calling for stuff. I've been calling for time now. Come on, boy. He's trolling me now. Come on. I've been calling for time for this guy to get sacked. Honestly, if we don't beat this Wi-Fi club, Bruno to my Anfield, it will be an embarrassment. Look, let me know in the chat what your score predictions are. I don't think we're going to beat this team 3-0. Have you watched the way we play? We're not beating this team 3-0. I'm going for a very close 2-1 victory for the Reds. We're just about going to nick it, in my opinion. So, no, I'm not doing I don't think it's going to be a 3-0 victory by any stretch of the imagination. Could be wrong, but the brand of football that I'm watching for me doesn't suggest that. So, yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for the Reds. In terms of goal scorers, I'll give it to Camilo Duran for Qarabag and for Liverpool, Verts and Ekatike. So hopefully I get my bonus check. Again, with Florian Verts on the score sheet, so that's what I'm hoping. So yeah, that's my score prediction. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. If they beat us on our own patch, we need to protest. I wouldn't be surprised if we do, if I'm being honest with you. If we beat Qarabag and he's still there, I might stop doing watch alongs. I'm sorry, I might stop doing watch alongs altogether. I'll still do the shows, I'll still do match previews, but I might stop doing watch alongs. For me, I'm not going to sit myself down and force myself to watch that kind of brand of football. I can't do it, unfortunately. But if Gerard's in doing watch along, oof, good shout there, Bo. If that's his first game in charge, yes, it's going. Of course, it will. It would be. Of course, he's not going to manage Carabao. You know, he wants to Carabao, Qarabag, isn't he? So if that is Gerard's first game, then yeah, I'm gonna have to do watch. I'm not gonna lie. I will have to multitask in that regards. But I'm not promising. I'm not promising because I've been so fed up with this team. I can't. I can't really promise out loud anymore. So that's more positive. 2-0 victory with Mo and Bert scoring. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. But I feel like if that was to occur, then I would be excited for the Newcastle game. So yeah, let's see what happens. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Excuse me. Shout out to Bol, to Ozan, shout out to Daz, and shout out to Double D for your comments. I appreciate your engagement as always, guys. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming shows, I will be doing a watch along tomorrow for this fixture of Liverpool versus Qarabag, and I'll also be doing a follow-up match reaction show as well. So look out for that, and we'll be doing a match preview of Liverpool versus Newcastle on Thursday. Watch along, TBC. I can't confirm right now. TBC if I'm doing a watch along on Saturday. But if I don't do a watch along, I'll definitely watch the replay of the match and do a match reaction show Sunday evening. That'll be the plan. So yeah, lots of shows to look out for. So please make sure you hit that notification bell. Daz with the final comment says, any transfer news, Ozzy? No transfer news. I saw something earlier today that suggested Besiktas wanted to target Simicas on loan, but I just think that's paper talk. So yeah, nothing happening in terms of the transfer front. Quite frankly, I don't think nothing's going to happen in this window, and I'd be very surprised if we're already planning publicly in terms of releasing stories about signings for the summer. So no, nothing happening unfortunately. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.